Have you ever heard of a place so mysterious it feels like it's straight out of a fairy tale or a sci-fi movie? Welcome to North Sentinel Island, a forgotten piece of the world where a tribe lives in complete isolation from modern civilization. In this video, we're going to uncover the secrets and challenges of this forbidden island, where the lines between the past and the present blur into an intriguing story. Get ready for a fascinating journey into the unknown. So this here is North Sentinel Island, and you're not allowed to visit it. There are a few reasons for that, but first, it's important to know that North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman Islands, located in the middle of the Bay of Bengal, about 1,300 kilometers from India and 300 kilometers from Myanmar. Except for this small part here, the rest of the islands are governed by India, and this includes North Sentinel Island. The people who inhabit the island are known as the Sentinelese. And even though their island is technically part of India, they've probably never heard of India or anywhere else for that matter. And to make sure you're not as isolated as the Sentinelese when it comes to information, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. You see, the Sentinelese are one of the last groups on Earth that have remained virtually untouched and uncontacted by modern civilization. They live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, surviving by fishing, hunting, and gathering plants, much like all of our ancestors did tens of thousands of years ago during the Paleolithic era. If the real world were like a game of civilization, then the Sentinelese haven't even discovered agriculture yet, which is the first technology you research in the game. They also haven't figured out how to produce fire. So they've been pretty isolated from the rest of human history and culture for thousands of years. The strange thing about this society, however, is how close it is to the modern world. The island is just 50 kilometers away from Port Blair, a modern city with over 100,000 inhabitants, an international airport, a major naval base used by the Indian Navy, and the headquarters of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Territory Government. How this situation came to be is quite interesting. The first known contact between the Sentinelese and the outside world only happened in 1867. That year, an Indian merchant ship wrecked on a reef near the island. The crew escaped to the beach, but was attacked by the locals, who were seeing other humans for the first time in their civilization's history. The crew survived, as another passing ship rescued them, and periodic contact attempts were made by the British until 1887. After that, no one from the outside world successfully contacted them again until 1970, when the Indian government sent a group of anthropologists who sighted them on the beach. During the British colonial period, the Andaman Islands served as a penal colony for British India. However, even with the British presence on nearby islands, the Sentinelese continued to avoid any direct contact, maintaining their culture and isolation. The island is covered by a dense tropical forest that hosts a variety of plant and animal species, many of which could be endemic and still uncatalogued by modern science due to the area's inaccessibility. The Sentinelese live in small family groups, building simple huts made of wood and palm leaves, usually located along the coastal areas. They seem to avoid the island's interior, which is denser and harder to navigate. A tragedy occurred in 1974 when a National Geographic team went to the island to film a documentary and was met with a barrage of arrows as their boat got too close to the shore. The director was hit in the thigh by an arrow, and the crew retreated. In 1981, a shipwreck occurred on the northern side of the island, and you can still see its remains on Google Maps today. The crew urgently called for help after spotting the Sentinelese building boats on the beach, armed with spears and arrows. However, help didn't arrive for 2 weeks. Eventually, everyone was rescued by helicopter, and the first peaceful contact between them and the outside world finally happened in 1991. With a group of Indian anthropologists. But in 1997, the Indian government decided to halt any further expeditions to the island out of concern that they might introduce diseases to which the Sentinelese had no immunity, as had happened in other parts of the world before. They also deemed the risk of being attacked by the Sentinelese too high. The tribe survived the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Before the 2004 earthquake and tsunami, North Sentinel Island covered about 72 square kilometers and had a roughly square shape. Coral reefs extended around the island at a distance of 800 to 1,300 meters from the shore. The 2004 earthquake shifted the tectonic plate beneath the island, raising it by 1 to 2 meters. Large sections of coral reefs around the island were exposed, turning into land or shallow lagoons, extending the island's boundaries by up to 1 kilometer to the west and south. Later, Hela Kapoor went to check on them, but was turned away by a warrior with a bow. The final tragedy occurred in 2006 when 2 fishermen who were illegally fishing in waters near the island fell asleep and their boat drifted too close to the shore. Sentinelese archers killed the men, and when a helicopter came to retrieve their bodies, it was also met with a volley of arrows and had to retreat. Following these incidents, the Indian government banned all travel to the island and declared a 3-mile exclusion zone around it, enforced by the Indian Navy. This is why you'll likely never set foot on this island, and even if you could, you probably wouldn't want to. The Sentinelese are considered one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world. This attracts significant anthropological interest, as preserving their way of life offers valuable insights into pre-agricultural societies and how humans lived before the advent of modern technologies. Additionally, the island acts as a natural conservation laboratory, as modern human activities are entirely absent. This keeps the island's ecosystem relatively untouched, providing scientists with unique opportunities to study tropical ecosystems in their pristine state. The last Indian census of the island attempted to estimate its population, placing it at around 40, but other estimates suggest the true population could be anywhere between 50 and 400 individuals. Regardless of the exact number, the last people from the outside world to visit the island were in 2006, and none survived to tell the tale. But imagine the perspective of these isolated people. When that shipwreck occurred on the island in 1981, it may have inadvertently sparked the Iron Age for their civilization, as they were observed scavenging the wreckage for iron, which they now use in the tips of their arrows. For the Sentinelese, their island is their universe, and the outside world is as distant as the stars and space. To them, we are like aliens with incomprehensible technology and languages, and there's much to learn from their responses to us so far. It remains uncertain when or if contact with the Sentinelese will ever happen again.